So we thank you guys for joining us. We've had a great day so far up here in Big Bear. We got up here yesterday, and we've been doing SEMA 360. We've been filming videos. We're making plans for 2021. We don't know what 2021 is going to look like, but we're making plans for it. So I'd like to welcome you guys. Let's start. I'll introduce the people. We have Billy Baugus from ADG, American Detailers Garage. Jace Price from TLD Products, The Last Detail. Barry Theal from SB3 Coatings. Jeremy hasn't joined us yet. He said he would be a little bit late. We're going to have Jeremy Stevens from Shine Supply out of Southern California, close to us. And then we have Levi Gates from the Rag Company. And of course, Mr. Renny Doyle from PNS Double Black. So welcome, guys.
That's
thanks for having us.
Right?
You know, and it's pretty cool because I look at all these. I've got a pretty good, solid relationship. Jace, I've just gotten to know in the last couple of years. But, you know, I got to tell you, Bob, you're not the jealous type, are you? Because he's pretty studly, too. If I was going the other way, you know, he's pretty studly. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty studly, man.
If you're going the other way.
Well, I'm flattered.
Yeah, you know, I got to warn you guys, you're kind of getting us at the end of the day, so we're going to probably be I'm going to be goofier. Bob's in control. I'm not.
I am definitely not in control. I'm a newbie. Chris is the guy.
Yeah, we got to say hi to Chris. Chris is here.
Running the show here. We just kind of sit back and talk. But, you know, I think one of the things that I mentioned as we were leading up to this is that a lot of people underestimate the energy and effort that it creates to create a brand. And it comes with a lot of emotions. It comes with a lot of dedication and hard work. And even when you stack all those things together, you know, you still might not be successful. I know with PNS and Renny, you know, we had a platform, a launching pad essentially because, you know, of PNS's legacy in the business. But, you know, to come from, you know, a detailing background and be successful at launching a brand, it's quite the accomplishment. So I just kind of like to open it up to you guys kind of telling a little bit quickly about yourself, not too long, and then kind of how you transition from, you know, a detailer to your brand. So Billy, if you want to start us out with a little spice from Kentucky, that would be awesome.
Well, I mean, you know, I probably come at it from a different direction than a lot of people. Is I don't live in a metropolitan area. I live in a pretty suppressed area now. It didn't used to be that way, but now my angle has been largely volume work, dealership work, and through doing that and being able to make a living doing it, I had to learn efficiency in ways, you know, cutting the fat around the detailing process. But I have a history from the body shops, the production to auction houses. I have really a history in all these things coming in as the industry has grown. And I would say probably gotten finer over the years with the higher end stuff. The coatings, more the cutting edge stuff, of course, refined my skills. So I come at it from an area where I've experienced all these different things and I put them all together and make a process and show guys. Because a lot of guys that are in the ADG group and that follow us, they're not in Los Angeles or in a big metropolitan area. And so I have a vested interest in the industry growing going forward. And how do we keep guys involved and excited about the industry? And that's the way to do it, is to keep them from dropping out. So that's how we started to begin with. And then the brand was really, you know, born out of that, almost like a demand pushed into it. As far as chemicals, I don't know how much you want me to go into this, but chemical wise, the chemicals just went into the process and they fit like a hand in a glove, and they made sense. They made sense to a lot of people, and a brand was born. But not just the chemical line. I have a passion for building people, and sometimes the abrasive personality works out good for that, and sometimes it doesn't. But you know, at the end of the day, we have a vested interest in the growth of the industry and in building and empowering people.
I think one of the things that I clearly respect out of this group is the fact that even though technically, you know, we could all be, quote, you know, competitors, I think we all realize that, you know, it's really about lifting everybody in the industry up and engaging with them and making them more successful. And man, there's room for plenty of brands and plenty of product sales. You know, the customers make the choice. We don't make the choice, right? We just launch a product and then, you know, they create the choice. So it's Perfection Custom Detailing. That's the name of your detail business, right, Billy?
In the detailing business, yeah, or was.
Is it done, or are you still detailing, or is ADG occupying all your time now?
Well, I still work a full-time day job. A lot of people don't know that, but I still work a full-time day job along with ADG. But between the two of those, it's all I can handle. So, long story short, I don't want to depress everything, but I'm right outside of Fort Knox. Fort Knox is part of the BRAC, Base Relocation and Closures, and they all but closed Fort Knox, several years ago. And little by little over the years, businesses went out. They moved, relocated. The economy just kind of took a dump. It's starting to come back a little bit now, so I had to make a choice. And basically, what I had left was car lots, and I didn't want to do the car lot thing. I wanted to focus more on ADG. So the good part about doing the day job is I actually run ADG from my day job, and then I come home and run it some more.
Yeah, it never ends, right?
Yeah,
So
never ends.
Yeah, Jace, you and I mean, I don't know you that well. We had an opportunity to talk on the phone a couple weeks back, and that was a real kind of prepping for this event. And I appreciate you coming on. But you kind of have a unique story. I mean, I got to tell you though, for sure, the last cut, that shit is legit, man. And that's in the
Thank you.
tell you, some people think, oh, you just create a compound, put a little solvent, a little water, and a little abrasive in a bottle. And that is not how it's done. So that, you really have one of the most, impressive products in the industry. And it's kind of carving out a niche for you. So how did you get in this business?
So it was initially a hobby for me, like just detailing. And I finally got into the actual paint correction side of it. And my OCD basically drove me to a point where that's really all I was doing. I was doing paint corrections for $100 just to get, some time in, to get some time on the paint. And over time, it got to where I was getting asked to come teach classes to do paint correction. But I knew that I had issues with some products I was already using. And I would really say the last cut was a product of my environment, because I was working in a garage in Nevada. Sometimes it got to 116 degrees, and some things I was using just wasn't working. So I had to mix stuff together to make it work. So I didn't think it was really a time for me to start teaching without having a product to teach people how to use. So that's when I just decided to try and find a chemist. And it took about four to 6 months to finally find one that was open to hearing my input, because there were some other ones who were quite knowledgeable, but they didn't want to hear inputs from the new guy, with no experience. But of course, I knew what I wanted the product to do. So over the 6-month period, I finally found one that was open to listening to the inputs that I had, and we made a few revisions over 2 years, and basically resulted in a product that fixed all the issues that I had personally, working in the environment I was working in. And I sent it out to a few friends, like around the world that I knew from the paint correction, part of things, and they all liked it. So they were like, Jace, this actually works, man. Like for real, like it works. Yeah. So at that point, I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll go live with it. I'll see what happens. And I put it out, and it took off.
Yeah, congratulations, man. That's cool. So Barry, we've known each other for, I want to say about 5 years now, I think. And, SB3, though, that's not your first offering, right? You had another company before that. And then, of course, it was Presidential Details. But kind of jump in how you went from Presidential Details to Americana, correct? And then SB3 Coatings.
Man, I don't know. I think I was years of working with Tonch Corn, I think kind of influenced a little bit of some of the stuff that I had to offer with 3D, behind the scenes, a little helping him out. I'm very thankful for the opportunity that I had with him. And just so everybody knows, it's an honor to be here with all you guys tonight as well. But for me, it seemed like it fit. It seemed natural. I'm never content. I always got to keep pushing forward. Detailing cars, I felt like I accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish detailing cars. It was, you know, I wanted to have the bigger shop. I wanted to do a certain amount of cars. I did all that. And as we transitioned, you know, I had a really great shop manager. You know, I'm a big guy on team efforts. And shop manager of mine, Scott Ward, we were talking one night, and basically I came back from SEMA one year and I said, let's start something. We started Americana. It did pretty well. It did pretty well. I came out with a nice pad design. They're still using it today. 4 partners, a lot of headaches, and we just kind of sold it, walked away, and I instantly wanted something more. And I still want something more. So brought to the table SB3, and here we are today. I think we made a pretty good impact on what we're doing so far in the last couple of years, 3 years. But that's about it. I mean, nothing crazy. I just worked hard and believed in myself and believed in the team around me, and we built a strong foundation and grew from there. I'd have to say, Bob.
Yeah, no, congratulations, man. I was on your website today. It's very impressive. I mean, I've always been impressed with your work. Now, Levi, you're just the coolest guy, right? I mean, Renny and I, we got to get, you know, we're not gutsy enough to get tattoos, so we're just going to wear, you know, the fake sleeve, right?
Yeah, hey, that's all right.
Yeah. We're just trying to hang with you.
No, maybe we can go get it one step further and
Yeah.
like have them get those fake ink ones.
Yeah.
You know, so that way they wear off, but we're not total sissies.
Yeah. What do
You
they
know?
call that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, but so Levi, I mean, from Hawks Detailing, right, in Boise to the Rag Company. And, you know, I don't know if I really know the story, how you got involved with the Rag Company.
Well, so yeah, I've been detailing for, since I was 16 years old here in Boise. And when I started Hawks in 2011, that kind of became, you know, instead of working for somebody, it became my thing. And so I started doing my own research and got active in the forums, got active on social media, and met a lot of these guys while we were all still back in 2011 when everybody kind of moved over to Facebook from the big forums. And it was through that caused me to start looking for better towels because I was tired of scratching paint using Costco microfiber and finding that all the supply trucks in the area or the body shops were literally just buying Costco Kirkland Signature towels. So did a little research, found out that the Rag Company was one of 3 companies. I checked out Ian's company, Microfiber Tech, Auto Fiber. I looked at Microfiber Madness, and I looked at the Rag Company, which were the kind of the 3 big names in premium microfiber. And lo and behold, when I Googled the Rag Company one morning, just to go to their website, I just remember typing like the Rag microfiber or something because I couldn't remember the name. It pulled up on the Google search, Boise, Idaho, and showed the storefront. And I was like, wait, what? Hold on. They're in Boise? And emailed Jeff and said, hey, you know, I just want to come by if I can. So me and my guys went. We spent 3 hours that day in his store learning of everything we could about microfiber. I think I walked out of there with $200 worth of stuff. Went back. The next day, Matt and I, my assistant manager, headed back there on our lunch break and bought another $300 worth of microfiber and just wanted to pick their brain. That led to an addiction. We spent pretty much once a week, we'd go visit. And Jeff and Dane and those guys basically said there's only about 4 or 5 employees total. Dane had this idea to do videos. And he said, hey, could we use your shop? You're the only detailer we know that comes in here. Could we use your shop as a backdrop? And I said, yeah, sure. That'd be fun. We could do that. I'm game. And that's kind of how it all kicked off and how it started. Jeff and I we had a meeting somewhere that he had to go to in California. And he called me and said, hey, can you come with me? I don't know anything. And it was on that trip. He basically said, how do I hire you to come work for me? And it took about 9 months from that trip to selling my shop and making that clean break over to working for the Rag Company. But the rest is history.
Yeah, you guys got quite a business going on in Boise. I know we'll be there next week. Yeah, and there's a few more than 4 or 5 employees now.
There's we have 43 employees and we're in 65,000 square feet. So
A
So
little bit.
when I first went to their store, it was 3,000 square feet, and there was like 4 people. So, pretty nuts. But
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then, so, Renny, I don't know how you got into this business. How did you do that?
Wow.
Who suckered you in?
Ironically how things work, man. I really, one of my best friends, I stepped out right before we got on this call with all these cool people, and I grew up with him, and we watched each other's struggles. And a lot of our friends didn't make it out of our hometown. They're still there, and I love you guys. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them follow my stuff, and I'm so blessed to have that of lifetime friends. But I told him, he says, "Do you get nervous?" And I went, "Yeah, I do, man. I still get, not nervous, but like anxious. Because I don't want to say the wrong thing that leads somebody down the wrong road. Does that make sense? Because like somebody else said, Barry said, and Billy said, is building up people, and we've done that. The three of us have come together, and we've done that. But my story was starting out small, but everything in my life has been Mount Everest. It was either really hard to climb or I had to get there. It was one or the other. And the number 7 has always been important to me. First off, it was my first football number when I was 5 years old. But it's ironic because I always believed that, my mentors, as I became more successful, 7 sources of income. And so I started out throwing I was an early, a lot of people, you might not even heard this, but our started out as we bought McGuire's products from a McGuire's warehouse representative, and we resold McGuire's products in one of our shops. And it was a miserable failure because we bought it for, let's say $2 and sold it for $2.50. It wasn't much. And I had to buy in at like $10,000. And I had $10,000 sitting on the shelves that I couldn't use to build what I really did for a living. And then we helped Shell Oil launch a couple products. We had a lot of success with that. We got involved with Flex Tools, we got involved with Sonex. We've helped test a lot of products through the years. And then when I met you and Dave, it was funny because you guys were so subtle about wanting to do something together.
Suckering them in, basically.
Yeah, it was. But you're so classy. And you made me think about the big picture of working with the family-based business, because that's all of us are that. Anybody on this call, we're family-based, we're small.
Right.
And I remember telling Diane, I said, and it wasn't, Sonex was a great company. I had no problems with Sonex, but it was a big company, and I didn't relate to big as much as I did family. And I just remember being around the Phillips family and wanting to be more part of whatever they had going. They had good mojo going. And it didn't happen right away. It happened when it was ready. And I think that's massively important. The other thing that's interesting is I'm sitting here and everybody that's gone through is Jace, military background, correct?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Barry? Billy?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else on the call? Myself, Diane, Scott, military background. And I think that when you've got that background for a certain percentage, thanks fellas for your service. But I think when you've got drive like these fellas do, and then you've got the discipline, which really comes down to that's really what the military teaches you is discipline. That's unstoppable. And when you got that drive and you got that discipline, that's why all these folks are here, man. That's why they're all here. Mount Everest was in front of them. They ain't gonna stop.
Yeah.
So there's how we got into it.
So, it's what I really like is the diversity in the group. Everybody's got their own style, right?
Yep.
And unique individuals. But
flavor.
I think one of the things that we really share in common is that, like we said, we're about not propping the industry up. That's the wrong term. Helping the industry be successful. But one of the things I think is interesting, a lot of detailers think they can become, a product distributor or a brand. And there's so much to the process. And one of the things that's great is, we've all gone through that process, but you guys are, we're all out there fighting it, but you're fighting it currently. And I think, Billy, I got, a long list of questions here on paper and in my head, but one of the things I'm thinking about is, so for those that want to create a brand, what are the pros and cons? How has it affected you?
Well, just to put it bluntly, so I think a lot of people would be drawn to it. Maybe but you like to see your name on a bottle, on a jug or something. Maybe a little bit of ego driven, maybe passion driven. In the beginning, to me, I thought, what'd be kind of cool? I have my own product line. But I think with anything that you accomplish in life, if you're a driven person, it's going to drive you. Well, I want more. Well, I did that. Well, now I want more. And I want to take it to something else. So the upside of getting involved in it is just that. You can look at a bottle of something and say, well, that's cool. That has my name on it. Now you got to go sell it. And then as you go sell it, there's 50 other people out there selling theirs too. So what is it that you bring to the table? I think is the important question to ask yourself that was going to, separate you from everybody else or make your product stand out. So it's definitely not easy, and it shouldn't be easy. Our industry should be made up of a bunch of product manufacturers, distributors, brands, and we all work our butts off to get where we are. So I think just constantly evolving and working on your base is an upside. Downside, man, you get, for people that cry on Facebook about haters, guys, man, you've not seen hate. Go put your name on something and go out there and sell it to the mass public. You haven't even seen haters yet. So the downside is, in the beginning, you have a lot of hate. Downside is it consumes a lot of time, a lot of questions. This phone goes off nonstop. I got it on mute all the time. But to me, that's my job, right? So you got to take the dumb stuff with the good stuff. But it's all in how you look at it. It's a challenge. Everything's a challenge. We make products that fail all the time. We just introduced a new product on the market, so we've got 6 products on the market now, but we probably failed at 8 or 9 before they ever came to the market. So accepting failure is going to be an important part of it too. And it's, you'll see guys out there on the internet, well, I'll go create my own product line, man. To be a brand ambassador, product manufacturer, you've got to be able to take it on the chin and get back up and continue going. You got to continue in personal development. You have to continue to learn the business side, how distribution works, how pricing works, how to answer questions, what's an SDS sheet. And there's just a ton of that stuff. So depending on how you look at it will be an upside or a downside, but that's just a nutshell of what I think the advice or the information I would give somebody from my experience.
Well, what's interesting is, having been in this business a long time and having a kind of a clear understanding of distribution. I mean, one of the things is when I see detailers, want to become a brand, it's all about distribution. You can have the best product in the world, but if you don't have a method to deliver it to the street and get it out there, and most people think you can put it on a website and that'll just work. I mean, you may get lucky and that may work, but man, you got to have people that have your back and that are supporting your brand. Jace, one of the things when we talked a few weeks back, number one, I really enjoyed our conversation, but one of the things I loved is you used the term, and I don't think this is how you said it, but this is how Renny and I say it all the time. It's like, we've been doing this a long time, but we still feel like we're just getting started. And one of the things that you said is like, hey, I want to see my brand, to the finish line. And I thought that was really interesting because obviously, your compound is, your key component of your brand, but you've got more in store. So what do you see in the future for, your company?
I mean, I see an entire product line personally, but the way I'm going about it is a little bit different because I take my time to develop like every single step of the way. I'm there. I don't leave it in the hand of my chemist. I don't leave it in the hand of anybody else. So all the product development and all the testing that goes on, I do it personally. And if I'm happy with it, that's when others get a chance to test it to see if it's actually good or not. So the entire line is taking a while to come to fruition. But I mean, just for example, the finishing polish I'm working on, I've started 4 times now. And it's been going on for almost 3.5 years. But if I'm not happy with it, there's no way I'm going to release it.
I said, what's wrong with you, man? Can't you figure it out?
Yeah, I never thought a finishing polish would be this hard, but like I'm really picky, and thankfully I do have a chemist that is really patient because there's been a few times where he said, "Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, you shouldn't have to make any changes to it now. It's gonna be a hit," and I have to respond to him saying, "It's okay. It's not where I'm not happy with it yet," and he can take that constructive that criticism and actually make changes. So I do see an entire line in the future, but I choose to go slowly to make sure it's exactly how I want it to be, and not just trying to throw some out there just to make some money. So I'm just in
Right.
it for the long haul.
Hey, have you watched the program Breaking Bad? Have you heard of it? It's on Netflix.
Yes, sure.
I want to start a program with your product called Breaking Good because I think the shit's addictive.
Thank you.
If you guys haven't used it, I mean, I'm a product guy, right?
Man, you're fired.
Credits due where credits due. It's bad.
Thank you.
So we don't have Stevens on yet, right? Though. No. Yeah. Okay. We're hoping to get Jeremy on, but so Barry, I think one of the things is when I think of just creating a brand, there's always a lot of challenges. So when you created, let's just take SB3 because obviously Americana was a brand, but SB3 is your latest offering. You know, what was your biggest challenge when you launched that brand?
A coating company coming into
That was a loaded question, my friend.
Did you see his face?
I'm like,
he's like,
yeah, answer that.
I mean, no, honestly, our hardest challenge was, I mean, trying to figure out a couple of the things that we wanted to do, which direction we wanted to go. You know, we knew, and you know, and keep in mind, it's not just me. There, you know, it's me and my partner Scott. We have some teams, but we knew when we approached this that if we just come out as another coating company, it's going to be a nightmare. So we started with 3 products. That's literally where the 3 came from. You know, Alpha, Omega, and we started with Flyover, which Billy actually named, by the way. You know, I got to give him credit where it's due. And we just kind of went from there. We started with 3, and today we have 25 products, I think.
Really?
Yeah, we're coming out with, I believe, 5 or 6 for Mobile Tech, with a whole new revamp of lineup. It's the biggest hurdle, though, I think, is, you know, for me, it's not listening to the online drama. I tend to fall for that personally. I like to get in, help, and talk, and I got to remember, just shut your mouth sometimes and let it go, and just move on. I think that's my hardest challenge for me personally. As a company, when we started, it was obviously, hey, we came out as a coating company and we had some serious competition. Nobody took us serious. Everybody kind of laughed at us. Companies made fun of us. Detailers picked on us. Friends who I thought were friends left me, you know, completely disowned me, completely disbarred me. People laughed, they joked, and you know what? I didn't give a shit, man. I had one goal, and that was to just keep moving forward. I know who my true friends are. I know who the true people are in this industry, the people that really are for the better of the industry. And that was it, man. We just moved forward. You know, I'm not going to sit here and dwell on anything. You know, I'm going to just keep pushing forward one step at a time. That's it.
Dude, we're talking, Bob and I are talking about, you know, each one of you, I'm going to add something in here. These guys are our competitors, and here I am, like, building them up. It's like, that's kind of cool, though, right? That's allowed.
That's what it's about.
So Barry's like his marketing, dude, is spot on. Like his bottles, everything's thought out.
I want to know
This
where he
dude's
gets his
OCD.
box.
No, yeah, right. He's just OCD. His stuff is, dude. I think that you've captured so many people's interest just by capturing their interest, you know, and then he's a character himself. But God, man,
listen, I take huge pride, very huge pride in simplicity. If you look at our logo, like there was a guy online the other day that said, your logo is not a logo if it has just your name on it. I wanted to smack him. Nice guy, but when I looked at it, I'm like, dude, our logo is just our name, and people know it now. People see it. They know it. Like, and I get to what he was saying, but at the same time, I was like, dude, you have no idea, man. We worked hard to get where we're at, and we're happy with what we're doing.
Didn't you just want to respond to and say Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
By the way, if not to interrupt, but Renny, you talked about the word discipline in the military, and it brought up a phrase of mine that I live by ever since I spent some time at Fort Benning, Georgia. If you were in the military infantry and you went to Benning, the phrase was, discipline must be a habit so ingrained that it has to be stronger than the fear of battle or death itself.
Yep.
I'll never forget that. But that was, you made that pop back up into this small head of mine, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to let you know.
It's true. It's, fear is amazing emotion. It can save you, and it can make you. In my case, fear hasn't never been I'm probably stupid sometimes.
It's interesting, Barry. You mentioned about jumping in with coatings, and we have Inspiration, but when we launched Inspiration, we specifically, our strategy was to just fly under the radar.
Yep.
Like, just have the coating be there. In fact, Renny, it was a calculated decision. We didn't even want Renny to push it. We just wanted it to be just a product that people could buy if they wanted to buy it, and let it find its way.
Yep.
And to go out there and hit that industry head on, man, that took some courage, but a lot of great people out there. So Levi, one of the things that I think is really cool is the rag company has curated this still detailing brand. You guys still are out there working on cars every day. It's kind of your key component, but obviously having a detail shop has taught you a lot. But how is your skills as a detailer really played into benefiting the rag company?
Well, that's a good question. I think the biggest thing is, myself and Anthony Fisher, my counterpart, we are able to work at when Jeff and Carolyn, when they first got the business and bought it from the previous owners, they didn't know, Jeff laughed because like one towel we brought forward was a pearl weave. And I said, we really need to get into doing a pearl weave. And Jeff saw that he didn't know what we were talking about. I showed him the towel and he's like, oh man, they had this towel since '99 and we got it. We didn't know what to sell it as. We didn't know what it was used for. So we stopped carrying it. So to have a set of detailers who look at things and watch the market and go, hey, this is what we need to be doing, or this is what we need to have, or this is something where, maybe the market trend is going, has really helped us. But then we get to look at it from different sides. Anthony is the detailer who wants to take his time, who wants to be in his garage, has that level of OCD, and is that weekend warrior, where I come from, just like Barry, just like Billy, we were detailers, and we did auction work, we did dealership work, we did retail work, and it's all about finding those efficiencies and like Renny, like, you got to make money. It's got to be able to put a roof over your head and take care of the guys that are below you. And if there's no time to spend 30 hours on a detail unless you're getting paid quite heavily for that 30. It's not just a detailer on the weekend that can hang out in his garage and chill out. I'm thankful I finally get to be that detailer and I get to spend that time and hang out. But it's about looking at it for two different groups, the weekend warriors and the actual hardcore business owners. And that's kind of what we do. We curate every time we bring in a line, or we bring in a new tool, or we develop a new towel. It always has to pass Anthony and I. Both of us have to agree on it. And that's Jeff's number one rule. If Anthony or I don't agree, it doesn't come into the market. It doesn't come into our store. And sometimes that's why we cherry pick. There are times we'll cherry pick a product line. And we did that with Double Black. There were items that Anthony and I had to agree on before we could bring it on. And once the brand proves itself, then we can bring on the rest of the lineup or what have you. And I've still got products from 2-3 years ago that I'm trying to get Anthony on, and he won't. He's just not there, and vice versa. There's products he has where he's like, dude, this stuff's good, and I'm like, it's just not gonna work. It's not gonna work from the viewpoint I have. And I think that's really key in how we run the business.
I think, every business has a long road. And one of the group of the panelists, everybody kind of started in a similar situation. The rag company is very unique. Although, they didn't, like Barry entered coating when, it was a very difficult challenge to enter that space. But the rag company kind of entered the the microfiber towel business when the designated detail towel was the Costco towel. And still it's the one of the most affordable towels in the market, but you guys entered it. And then through your, marketing and ability, you guys made microfiber sexy again. And so, I mean, that's a huge challenge to overcome.
Yeah.
I mean, Costco.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're literally coming into battle a 38-cent towel. And how do you tell somebody they don't need a 38-cent towel? They need a $5 towel. And that's what it is. But we figured out a way to, I don't know, make it fun, make it enjoyable. We created a culture, and we've got super fans. We've got people that buy every single towel. They may not even be a professional detailer, but they buy every type of towel when it comes out because they just want the collection, or they want to have that, or it's amazing, and it still amazes me to this day. And I'm super humbled and thankful that people listen to what I have to say.
That's for sure. So, I mean, Renny, obviously, we had a lot of challenges when we launched Double Black, but what do you think were some of the greatest challenges when we entered this space?
Oh, wow.
As a, boutique brand. I mean, let's face it, we just came from SEMA, and, you had just joined us as our spokesperson. And, we had a great SEMA, but we didn't sell shit. And, it was everything, we love you, but we didn't sell anything. And I'm like, well, we got to sell something. And then we said, hey, we got to come up with a signature series, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it all started.
I think just taking and coming to the point to where we agreed on what our branding was going to be, and that it had to be personal. I think that was the biggest challenge of that first hurdle of making sure, and Jace said it best, is that we nitpicked every part. And honestly, I think part of our success is that we made Double Black. We looked at the marketing. Was there anything named Double Black in detailing? We had other kind of icon. I mean, we had all kinds of names picked out. But then we came back and we said, we had a powwow and we said, hey, what's our passions? And Dave, Bob, myself all love to ski. And we said, well, hold on. What about Double Black, experts only? I said Double Black, I think, and you said, hey, experts only. And then we came out with that, and then you searched it, word searched it.
We were thinking some rating system that would create kind of elite status. And then, we looked at the river rating system, right? Class 4 rapid,
climbing systems.
Nothing really resonated like 2 black diamonds.
Yeah.
I mean, people kind of knew what that meant.
And then it played into our passion, which again, I think brings up something that, I think each one of us, the panelists, it falls back to that of what you believe in, and what, for SB3, I like it. It's an easy, Alaska. I mean, there's just, when a story, it's funny because we made it a story.
Yeah.
And we made it a story. And I think just adapting to that and accepting that it would really work well was a big challenge. For instance, I didn't want my name on the bottle. I wanted it nowhere near it. We hired
his consultant.
Yeah, we hired my consultant in, and I thought I had this one. We brought in food. We're going to have a whole day of negotiations. And in 5 minutes, my guy goes, no, I'm siding with them. Your name's on the bottle. And he left. And
he
I was
says, if you're not selling your name, Renny, what are you selling?
That's exactly it.
Renny always, on his podcast, he always tells kind of cool stories and things like that about the people on the call. And I was, just thinking of a story that happened actually in January. We were at Mobile Tech Expo.
Mm-hmm.
And what has become tradition in the Double Black team when we travel is, number one, if we were traveling 3 or 4 or 5 of us, it's much more affordable to rent a house.
Yeah.
And we always enjoyed kind of hanging out together. Well, at Mobile Tech this year, we rented a 10-bedroom house with 10 bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And those houses are only available next to Disney World, right? I mean, because everybody goes down there, they bring their families down there, they form a compound for a week or two. So it's 11 o'clock at night, and everybody in our house is just about in bed. And I'm on Facebook, and I think it's either Facebook Live or Instagram. I can't remember what it was, but I'm watching Billy show his feed of their house. And I'm like, son of a bitch, that house looks just like our house. And so I'm sitting here going like, what the hell? So I think I text Billy, or I can't remember what I did. I go, God, Billy, man, your house is just like ours. We must be in the same neighborhood. What's your address? So he texts us his address. It's 3 doors down from our house. But Billy, what you don't know, and Barry, you don't know, because I know you were there. What I was watching is these guys were, they were having a great time, right? And our house was asleep.
Yeah.
So I didn't dare respond in kind to share my address because I was scared that Barry and Billy were going to come knocking on our door. So I ran downstairs. I grabbed Keith. I go, come on, you got to wake up, man. He's like, what? I go, get up. We're going down the street. We got to go to Billy's house because if I text him that we're down the street, he'll come here and he'll wake everybody up.
Well, what you didn't know is Diane and I were upstairs. We're like, Dad, somebody's having a party, man. We need to go figure out where this is. Because we can have a good time, man. It was like, wow.
So we didn't tell Billy that we were coming. So Keith and I walk down the street and we pound on the front door like it's the police. We're like, bam, 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 police. And they open the door like, oh my God. And anyway, I mean, that was a really good time. Hopefully most of it happens this year, right? We're all hoping. I mean, with the way things are going, maybe not, but maybe we'll get to see everybody there. But,
well, I hope so.
That was obviously, one of the things that's really cool is, we're all friends in our industry, and I just love that. I mean, it's
look at this, man.
I mean,
look at the guys that are on here. They're some of the coolest guys in the world, man.
Absolutely. I'm disappointed we don't have Jeremy on because he's got a really cool story.
Well, hold on. So Jeremy and we got a rule, and it's unsound. Every time Jeremy and I get together at SEMA, we cry because we emotionally charge each other so much in our backgrounds and the struggles and our kids and all this stuff comes together. And so it is a shame he couldn't come on, but these guys are the same way. It's really cool that I've gotten to spend, private time, like friendship time with these guys. Right. And we're all in the same gig. I mean, that didn't happen in our industry, guys, 10 years ago. Yep. That would have happened. We'd be throwing daggers at each other.
No. And one of the things I think is cool is anybody on the call, I feel like if we ever, needed some advice or counseling or something, we always need counseling.
Billy's sitting next to us this year,
SEMA.
And he goes, hey, man, at Mobile Tech, and he goes, introduce me to, hey, man, who's the chick from, Autogate? I said, man, come on, I'll go down and Billy, I walked right up, didn't I? Just introduced and said, you need his product in your lineup.
And it happened, didn't it, Billy?
It happened. We're there.
That's it. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Awesome.
It's a nice, checkbox to get on Autogeek, right? I mean,
they're amazing people to work with too.
Oh, man, so just unreal. There's nobody better. Sure. Hey, so I'd like to get. I mean, I was trying to, wanted to ask individual questions, but there is one uniform question that I'd like to kind of people to sum up with is, obviously, looking forward, to your brand. What do you see, as the biggest challenge? And let's start with you, Billy. What do you see as the biggest challenge for ADG?
Biggest challenge for ADG is going to be staying relevant, right? Staying on the cutting edge and growing at the same time. I don't want just a product line. I want a brand, a following. I want to grow outward. I want to build people. The product line is just the front line. So I think remaining relevant and growing smart. Believe me, and it's not just me. We got great distributors that we deal with that I talk to that help educate me. I didn't know anything when we first started this. So, that was a huge hurdle in itself. But staying relevant and staying disciplined, focused going forward, that's going to be the biggest hurdle.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, staying relevant is, because the window of an opportunity of a brand can be small. Most people think, oh, you got years to sell something. But, I use the term, I always say this to Renny, I go, when the market's hot, you may be stressed, but man, you got to step on the throttle, man. You got to go, right? Because if you got that opportunity, you got to seize it. So Jace, for you, what do you see for the biggest challenge for your brand?
Yeah, I think just steady progression and scaling because I'm at 17 and a half years in the military now. So I'm nearing retirement. And whenever I do get to that point, then I can actually put 100% into the business. So obviously at that point, I would expect to grow because as of right now, it's just me and my wife that, run the whole operation. So I think scaling is going to be one of our biggest challenges because we can't stay where we are right now. So just taking a leap and actually pushing it to the next level, I think, will be our biggest challenge.
Yeah, scaling is a challenge. Demand. A lot of people think, you can handle any demand, but when things get really popular, it can be very stressful to try and, deliver a product in demand. So, Barry, what about SB3?
Pac-Man.
There you go.
There he is.
That
Nope.
Pac-Man machine, that's going to be the biggest hurdle.
Yep,
Hang
hold
on,
on,
hang on,
Barry.
We lost
We
Barry's
got you.
audio.
We lost your audio, Barry. Hold on one second. Let's see what's going on.
I think
There you go.
is that good?
Now we
back.
got you.
Yep.
Now we got you.
Cool. Thank you. For us, I think our biggest challenge is, obviously we're in 21 countries, I believe, right now. For us, so that's been, we're trying to, like, going global was something was new for us, new for me as well. So for us, we're trying to just, like, one country, and take our time. For us, and then our next hurdle, I think, is, which you'll see some stuff at Mobile Tech that may shock a lot of people. We were going to bring some stuff to SEMA, but obviously that didn't happen. So we upped our game for Mobile Tech. And I think the next biggest challenge is department stores. We're looking at Advance, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, a few other things right now at the moment too. You're going to see a new brand ambassador in a few weeks for us, which was a challenge. We looked at several professional race car drivers, and we really took a different approach. We want to go back to an old school family-like approach, I think. You're going to see a new brand ambassador, professional race car driver come out with SB3 here in a few weeks, which is pretty huge. And then we've got a lot going on, man. But the biggest challenge for us is understanding the growth and I don't know. I think in my eyes, it's easy to grow, but if you can't execute proper growth, you're going to fold just as fast as you grow. And that our patience with our growth has been one of our biggest challenges right now at the moment, truthfully.
Yeah. So Levi, I know the rag company, boy, you guys have changed. You guys, every time I go up there, there's something different going on. So what do you see as the biggest challenge? You guys have a ton going on at the rag company right now.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. So we've seen almost explosive growth, and I think a lot of it is Anthony and I and Dane. We kind of joke with, and even Jeff gets in on it, where we start to, I guess, get too big for our britches, and thankfully we have John to keep us on the straight and narrow and make sure we're always forging ahead. But man, for us, it's just the amount of space that we're getting into. We're starting to find that it's, harder and harder to, get into the right space and grow. We've been securing a warehouse, and then we're already max capacity with that warehouse, and we're on to the next one to look. Thankfully, our building complex and campus that we're in, we've got some stuff on the horizon with them, so that helps. But just trying to stay true, the amount of employees that we brought in and that level of quality we're trying to keep, just like when it was, Jeff and Carolyn in their garage with Dane as the only employee. We want to make sure there's still that personalization, still that individual level of quality. And that, that's just something that we're not gonna deviate from, regardless of how many chances or easier ways where we can go like, oh man, we can have the factory do that for us, and then we don't have to worry about it. And we enjoy employing people locally. We enjoy being able to provide for folks here, and that's something that, and that personalized family service that we're kind of known for and famous for is one of the things that I think we're never going to give up. But as we grow, we've taken on more and more and grown larger than I think any of us ever thought we would get to. And we're just going to be enjoying the ride. And we're thankful for every single one of our brand partners that have helped us along the way. So.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I know that you've certainly helped catapult Double Black a little bit
Oh,
as
man.
well. So, Renny,
really.
what do you see for Double Black's biggest challenges? We talked about a lot today.
You know, I think a lot of what, these fellows have talked about, same things, but I think remaining very progressive. We're lucky because we're working very hard, but at that same time, we love what we do. We love who we do it with. And then I think becoming more innovative, I think that's a really challenge as you become more successful, is that you can't, again, Mount Everest, you can't be happy with making it to base camp. You got to shoot for the peak. And then probably the biggest challenges for me personally, and with the brand is leaving deposits in lives. I think that as we get in there, as we've gotten opportunities as all of us, is don't forget that, some of you are very young, some of you are middle-aged, some of you are older, is that you've got to make an impact. You got to put craters in this life that we live, in this businesses we've got. And then personally is, I hope that I can live as an example for others to strive for. That I hope that my reasonable growth strategies, of staying out of debt, of never give up, being educated, make friends wherever you go. Don't know a stranger. And then also finding various sources of income. You might start out as a detailer. You don't have to end that as a detailer. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a detailer. There's plenty of times that I wish I still had a retail shop open to go and do stuff at. I missed that side of it. But I really think that, looking at it is making an impact within others, what they're doing, our team, and then our customers, and making it fun.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, we're at 54 minutes. We promised an hour. We're doing pretty good. I really, your guys' time is extremely valuable. Your friendship is very important to Renny and I, and what you're doing for the detailing industry is absolutely incredible. I look forward to the day when we can all see each other again.
Oh man. Yeah. Let me tell you, well, speaking of that, hey, why don't we make an invite right now?
Yeah.
Any of you guys are on this call, we're doing more and more with we're getting ready to really make this probably not as nice as the Rad Company, but we're turning it into a production studio. Slowly but surely it's there. Every one of you is always invited a free invite to come out here. Let's do something with all of our brands that would be fun, one-on-one, show the industry by example that people can work together. You're all invited. And then just God bless America on my side.
Yeah. Renny's got a pretty spectacular shop here. It's just comfortable. I mean, it's the right size. It's everything. So it's really comfortable. I want to thank you guys for joining, and everybody enjoy a nice evening. Good night all. Take care, guys.